Grave Reviews, this is Chris.
Have you tracked the children?
There's no children here. It's not safe for them.
This is Alan, and Chris is right. Grave Reviews is intended for mature audiences. Your discretion is advised. Grave Reviews presents Thursday Night Frights.
It has been such a fun time with technical difficulties. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. This is how you know we're live, right? Sorry about being a couple minutes late tonight. As I said, we were having some technical difficulties. Chris was having issues on his end, then I was having trouble on my end, and then we held hands and somehow met in the middle. So, Chris, how are you this evening, sir?
I'm doing well. Now, electronics,
Hey,
troubleshooting. What the heck?
So it's my understanding that Miss Kelly's feeling a little under the weather tonight. Is that correct?
This is true.
Kelly, feel better. That's a direct order. You must feel better now, or else I'm going to. I'm not going to come up there and get after you because that's a long drive. But maybe I'll email you nasty phrases. Listen here, you blah blah blah, blah 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 blah, not acceptable. Blah 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 blah. Anyway, no. All kidding aside, LG, I do hope you start feeling better soon. We really do. We love you and we appreciate you, and we're so glad that you're part of our family. So feel better soon.
Yes.
Chris, what are we talking about tonight?
What are we talking about? We are talking about genetic experiments and the dangers of methane gas and the good things on methane gas, and more bad things about genetic experiments, as well as beware the sheep.
And
beware sheep.
Where
you get bit, you will be where sheep.
Where's ooh, I like the it's funny. I was trying to figure out, is it where sheep, where lamb?
Yeah, it's definitely sheep. He's shearable. So
I liked sharing this movie with you, and I'm glad we both got a chance to watch it.
This is a great movie.
Things are gonna flow tonight, just so everyone.
The fact that it's free and it's out there, it's great. I praise New Zealand for this.
Yes. I will tell you, I hate to throw my criticisms and so forth in so early, but I'm going to tell you right now, I like this movie way more than I should have. I literally was I'm like, Chris. Yes, I'm like, have you seen this movie called Black Sheep?
I'll throw it on right now.
I'm like,
15 minutes in, I'm like, okay, I'll save this. Oh, like Plex is free. Cool. I'll just throw the app on and I'll watch it.
I'm literally like, you must.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is one of those. Chris and I, as we talk, right, we don't really go into detail on our things about movies. And before I said, I don't, without going too heavy into it, I said I really did like this movie more than I should have. And Chris is like, yeah, it's a guilty pleasure. I don't know that it's a guilty pleasure. And the only reason I say that is because anyone I've talked to who has seen this loves it.
Solid, dude. I'll get it right off the bat. The monster effects, while even the overboard ones, beautiful.
Yes.
Right to the end.
Yes.
In a very disgusting end, but yes.
and the fact that the special effects were top notch. It was 99.9% practical, right?
Yeah.
Where they used digital effect was so minimal. As a matter of fact, I didn't even realize the one time that they had to use it, which we'll get to it. The description was when the sheep were all running over the hill. hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. I had no clue that that was CGI.
They do a good job of hiding that
Because it's
in there.
used so sparingly. Like you said, the monster effects were great. Trina, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're telling you right now, if you have not seen the movie Black Sheep, this is a
Yeah,
must
put
watch.
it on your list. It's a good watch.
Watch.
Yeah,
It's one of those movies that you're watching it, and the whole time you're watching it, you're saying to yourself, "Why do I like this so much?"
it gets insane.
And it gets goofy, but not so goofy that. Okay, let's talk about our cast. Okay,
Yeah,
what did you think of the acting in this movie?
it's great. It starts. You have the creepy guy. You
Mhm.
have um the guy that's listen. He's in therapy because his brother slaughtered his pet lamb
Uh-huh.
and wore its skin and was told, "Boys, cut it out."
You're and at that moment, he also was. Their father died. Right?
Right, all at the same time.
Right. And the father's death had nothing to do with this, but it traumatized him to the point where he was not going
He
to.
went away.
Yeah,
He was sent away.
he has a what we come to find out a healthy fear of sheep.
Absolutely, yeah. It's the sudden and irrational fear of what the is happening right now.
she's like she's like her name is her name is Experience, and Danielle Mason plays this girl named Experience in the movie, and she is the character that you're really not supposed to like at first, because she's a hippie
Just
do-gooder.
one of those green activists where
Yes.
they're looking at it as breaking into this genetic. Let's be honest, it's a barn. It's not a lab; it's a barn. This genetic lab barn, and they're going to steal some of the stuff that's in there and run away. But good old Grant was like, "Ah," and forgot rule 3, which is get out quietly.
Oh, wait a minute. Grant.
Grant,
Grant.
Grant, you know.
It's Grant, but because of the Grant. So here's the funny thing about Grant and Experience is that they are they're not the best activist. Like Chris said, they forget or Grant forgets the rules. I love the fact that when you first meet them, they're climbing the fence right to go into the farm. And she says, she goes, "This is going to be like the salmon." He literally looks at her and goes, "Those fish died free."
They died free.
I was like, "Oh, okay, now I know what kind of movie this is gonna be."
Yeah, and it's all set up because the father passed away, the one brother went away, the other brother apparently kept the farm and has now been genetically experimenting with sheep to make them the best sheep, I guess,
Make
ever.
it,
And
the best that they can be, yes.
little does he know, when you hire evil scientists and you do genetic experiments, nothing is as it seems, nothing is safe,
So,
and roaming the hillsides of New Zealand are vicious, mad, bad sheep.
and they are share how you really feel, Chris.
It's so great. Right from the beginning. Like I said, that one scene sets it up where he's freaking out and they're all like, "What is wrong with you?" Because the sheep chased him into the house. And
Uh-huh.
there's a guy with his throat eaten. And he's freaking out and they're all like, "What's wrong with you?" And he's like, "I have this phobia. I've been in therapy."
Chris says I have a phobia.
Yeah, and of what? Well, it's this irrational fear of what is happening for
Right.
that.
I'm gonna tell you right now. So these sheep, these killer sheep that they start okay, so it all starts when uh Grant
Grunt. Damn it, grunt.
Cross steals this okay, toxic waste looking, it should be
It
um
was Mark Dispose
yeah,
or
looks like something that should have been in the movie Reanimator, that kind of thing. But when he falls with it and it breaks, and all of a sudden you see it climbing across his back, and you know good and well it's a hand puppet. Oh my God, it's a moment. It's a thing.
So, and it's just like,
And he's standing up and it's on his ear and he can't get it off. And he's like ramming himself into a tree and doing all
he hits himself in the face with a branch.
oh, I was laughing so yeah. I was laughing so hard at this. I was
It
like,
was so silly. And he spirals down into Rashipton, where he slowly becomes a monster, and it's hilarious because of the what he's spiraling into while trying to hold on to his activist self. Where
yes.
it's I'll protect you, the little bunny rabbit. I'll protect you.
Um, uh, so you have these moments of sheer delightful silliness.
Yeah.
There's a scene in here where a sheep drives a car off a cliff, and you hear the sheep go, as it's going
The-
down. Oh my God.
that whole scene is great. Where how the sheep got in the truck and they get in the truck and they're like, why isn't the truck going? And then it's like, oh, because he's getting killed by and it's this whole like full around to where all of them are on the back of the truck saying jump and somebody throws the dog off too.
Oh, and you
Because
can tell they're all like, hit the ground, tumble, tumble, tumble. And you can tell someone was just off camera and just kind of went, there you go. There you go.
yeah,
Bud."
it was awesome. And I will give it to him. That thing went off a cliff and it hit and there was splatter when that door opened. Like even paid attention to that. Bravo.
Just love the fact that the
Continuity, man.
behind the steering wheel.
Yeah, it was like a giant wool pillow.
It went off and you hear it.
Yeah.
It was great. Oh my God. So that's where I was just getting ready to say the fact that it's two sides of the same coin because literally the comedy in this, there's some sublime stuff like we talked about, but there's some stuff that's just right in your face, goofy. A
Oh,
12-year-old kid would love this, as every man would love this. But then it's followed up with special effects that are so well done.
the the lighting, the blood. I mean, you obviously get there's a party that gets preyed upon by all the sheep, and it's hilarious because there's like there's just so much going on with people being ripped apart in shreds and pieces and little snippets of like take me now lord and or I yeah
Welcome to the show.
Tina.
And if I may, ladies and gentlemen, members of the Talking Dead, please put a little round of applause together for Tina. Happy birthday, my friend. We are so
Happy
glad that
birthday.
you chose to stop in and be with us for a few minutes on your birthday. We love you for it and we appreciate you. Our
Definitely.
members of the Talking Dead are just chef's kiss. We love you guys. Thank you so much.
Definitely.
Happy birthday, Tina. I hope you have had a wonderful time so far today and on into the night. So uh
Indeed.
so anyway, so yes, as you were saying, the excuse me, you
It,
didn't
it's it, yeah, it's and the story here is I like that they added the love story at the end.
yes.
Is there possibility somewhere between Grant um and they sew the end of it up in just the goofiest way possible. Uh so it's kind of like a look at society, bringing them back.
And I love the fact that she's there's in the movie where he's like, and you and me, this will be us together, blah, and she goes, well, about us.
About us. Well,
Well, about us. And so when doing just a little bit of research on this movie, um, when watching it the first time, the pit scene,
yeah,
I thought that's that's a real thing, dude.
yeah.
I did not realize that, but in those uh, large farms like that, they either have a trench.
Oh yeah, it's got to go somewhere where you throw the yeah.
Yeah, so if an animal dies and whatever, and they have to
It's a huge compost area.
basically, yeah, and so when they fell in that at first, I was like, "Oh my god," and then when I found out it was a real thing, I was like, "Holy ah,
Yeah, gross.
ah, ah." Sorry, I
Uh,
skipped ahead a little way.
and throughout those whole the little funny moments I enjoyed were the plays on words that they did throughout the entire thing, where he's like, "Oh, that's disgusting, you fucker." Well, no, it was just a sperm sample. You know?
Well, no, when the guy's like, basically, how did you survive? He's like, "Oh, I would have been up the creek if it wouldn't have been for my boot." And then later, when he pulls his boot off,
Right.
and it's literally a sheep's hoof at the end of his foot, I was like, it took me by surprise, so man. I was like, "What the hell?" And then I was like, "Oh my god, that's great."
And he's like immediately putting the boot back on. Oh, it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
So it's fine. Yeah, nothing to see here. Move along.
Yeah. And it's just hijinks and the evil guy at the end, and um farts are not just funny, but they can save your life.
Absolutely.
That's all I'm
So
gonna say.
they uh they had several different type of wear sheep through the film,
Yeah.
stages and so forth. But when I saw the first transformation, fully so they wanted to pay homage to American Werewolf. That's the reason you saw
Mhm.
the one scene where it was kind of
Oh
doing
yeah, the snout grow,
Mhm.
the art, that like intense
Yep.
switch.
But
I
when it,
kudos.
when it did that, and it was like, and you don't hear the howl, you just hear the grunts, and oh my god, it was so yeah.
Oh no.
Oh, and then and then Nolan scene where the brothers standing there and looking at me, he's like, "That bastard."
Yeah.
I was like, "I love this movie."
Yeah. And yeah, it held it right to the end with the effects and how it kind of ends.
Yeah,
Um it works. It really just truly worked. Um this movie's funny. It's a
and
good run through.
it really is, and this is one of those movies also where, Chris and I could fall into a trap literally of just going scene by scene and laughing to ourselves and laughing with you and just telling you how great if you haven't seen it, I
It's worth the watch.
love, Trina, and Tina, if you haven't seen it, I would love for someone other than, ourselves to watch this, and then please leave us a comment on if you thought this movie was as good as we did. I have a very close friend of mine, his name's, Walter, who, he and I, or he puts on what he calls the Horror Fest every year, where we get together, we watch multiple horror movies back to back. It's just a guys' night out. And I asked him about this movie as well, and he's like, "Same thing, same thing." Oh, I love this. I was talking to a guy
Nice.
I work with, and he's like, "Oh, my wife and I have watched this a couple times." And I'm sitting there going, "I've never had up until right before we watched it, I had
Yeah.
never heard of it." Oh, I was so happy, so happy that we found this.
Yeah. It's free out there. It's on Plex. From New Zealand. $5 million budget. It could have been just kind of securing all the land to be running around in,
Yeah,
maybe converting a barn to a lab barn. Um, yeah,
the
because there was a couple twists at the end, and it was goofy enough to stick through it.
and again, the costume designing, the special effects, the actors, every piece of this movie made it elevated it well up and beyond, what you would expect from a movie about zombie were sheep. I mean, it is this movie is it's not Citizen Kane,
No.
but it is a lot more fun.
Yeah, if you can't laugh through this one, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
either.
give it to the cast that kind of kept it going, because you had to just die making this movie.
Oh, absolutely, and the special effects artists. who did the special effects house that did the special effects for this, literally said that, at first they were like, "Oh no, this doesn't sound anything that would be interesting to me," and then they talked to the director, and the director kind of explained to him his vision, and they bought into it and thought it was just going to be a quick, easy job for them, and then at the end said, "You know what? This is one of the hardest movies we've ever worked on," and you could tell put
Yeah.
their hearts and soul into it. I mean, it really was a phenomenal time. Hello, Hunter. Thank you for stopping by today, my friend. We're so glad to see you. So glad to see you.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, we could gloat over it, but honestly, it's a good watch from the beginning. You're wondering where it's going to go, and it's going to take some turns you don't expect along the way. And it's good to keep the laughs going. Several of the characters were good for that, as far as the cast goes. With especially what was it, Tucker? Tucker was the buddy guy.
yes.
Um, yeah,
Sorry, Hunter. This movie has nothing to do with Chris Farley and David Spade.
it's not that one.
It's not. It's that one. It's this one right here in the middle.
Yeah. And we can't say zombie. They're genetically altered through bites and and an evil not scientist, but can afford a scientist.
Yeah, yeah. It's um. All right, I'm not going to just sit here and keep gloating and laughing over this. I'm not going to. I can't.
Yeah, we're gonna rank this and give it good marks, way
Pretty
more than it might. I think it deserves it. I think it was worth the time.
on,
Well entertained.
on a
So
scale of 1 to 10, Chris. 10 being the absolute transcends the genre. 1 being a miserable dredge that makes me angry that I watched it, which everyone can tell at this point in time is not this movie. Or
well, it's
5.
one.
It's all the marks. Where would you put Black Sheep?
This movie hits all the marks. It hints at where you might go with it, but at the same time, it closes all of it cuts all the strings up
Yep.
and neatens all the strings up. So definitely hits all the marks. I laughed a lot the second time through.
Yes.
I picked up a couple of the little phrases where I'm like, oh, I see what he did there, like the play on words.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm gonna give this one an 8. It's not transcending, but it is high caliber, make you laugh.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one thing I do want to mention that we haven't talked about was the very end when you had the sheepdog.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
so maybe the next one, instead of being sheep, it'll be sheep dogs.
Yeah, sheepdogs.
uh I
Black sheepdogs.
don't know. I will say that I'm with you on this. I think that this movie is it is surprisingly good. Uh,
It's and I will, when I say 8, because it's funny and stuff, not to take away, because it's definitely the monster effects, the way they present the monster effects, the way they present the gore in, oh my goodness, like people are getting killed, and also, oh my goodness, it's slurping up intestines like spaghetti, and that's not supposed to happen.
so
So those effects really carries through, and they hit it right on the nose with the homage to uh, Werewolf in London,
yep,
with the change. Hey, he sold it.
he did. He did. And there's a little bit of sheep husbandry in this. Uh,
Like you said, you fucker. No, I just gave him sperm sample.
so bad. Anyway, so I'm with you. I'm thinking this is a good solid 8, and for me, this is a solid 8.
Yeah.
Um, I was telling someone today, matter of fact, I had a customer in, and somehow we got to talking about horror films, and we was talking about this one, and it was an older lady who's like, I'm not a big horror film fan, but I do have certain ones that I like.
Mhm.
And so I was telling her about some what I consider pathway films,
Yeah.
so Tucker and Dale and the Lost Boys, and she's like, "Oh, I love the Lost Boys," and she was talking about the Lost Boys, and so I kind of said, oh, well. let me tell you about this little film that we're talking about tonight. Now, and it's just hear me describe it. She was laughing. So I'm telling you right now, guys, this is a strong one. Now it's not Zombieverse,
No, it's not Zombievers.
but
It's
damn close.
funny, dude. It's funny, and like the special effects put it at solid 8. It's never going to be a higher than an 8 for the type of movie it is.
No,
It's far from, but that being said, it's top notch blend of humor and special effects. I love the monster effects. I really did. I dug it.
I'm with you, and I'm thinking that we can start off by saying we know it's better than Viking Wolf. So we'll go ahead.
Yeah, no.
I'm going to tell you myself personally, Chris. I wouldn't be against putting it fairly
It's pretty
close
high, man.
to
Yeah.
the Zombieverse. I really would. Let's see here.
It made me laugh. Like I said, second time through, I even laughed several times
I was
over
just
new things.
doing a quick kind of scan through at lunch today, and I was laughing myself silly even then. And this is like the third time or fourth time for me. So, all right, this is where we have to get.
This is where it gets a little serious here. We've got some good ones here. I mean, Sharknado spawned an entire series.
Yes.
I think it's what is it? We're up to Sharknado 18.
I'm going to say this. I think that I actually think Sharknado is a little high on our list. I think that if we were talking Sharknado 2, it would be great, right? It would be great. A spot for it, but that's just another thing.
I think it's right around that. I think we're close to where we're at. What do we have above Frankenhooker?
Real quick, have a great night, Tina. Thank you so much for stopping.
Tina, thanks for stopping by.
She has another show that she does
Thanks,
tonight.
Trina.
Let's see here. So we're right now we're at 32. Above Frankenhooker, we have Odd Thomas.
Yeah. We're serious in here. So honestly, I think you can interchange the Sharknado. Sharknado gets praise from me just because it spawned the ridiculous to where I have to watch. It's a train. It's like a train wreck. Actually, it's like a tornado wreck with sharks in it. So
the shark wreck.
Yeah. I think we're good right around there, man. Right where we got it.
I'm with you. I think I for myself, enjoyment factor, like I said, I'd put it above Sharknado. But if we were talking Sharknado 2, then we wouldn't be having the conversation.
Right.
I just think it's the Empire Strikes Back of that trilogy, right? Or of that movie series, right? It's
true.
Sharknado 2 is the best one, in my opinion. But that being said, I have no problem at 32. I think they're both pretty close. I wish that people had a better grasp of what this movie is. I think that a lot more people knew about it. A lot more people would enjoy it.
It kind of crosses the genre a bit. You got the zombie sheep, but it's really not zombie sheep. They're genetic experiments gone, across the animal human border there. So it's there's a lot going on in it. It should get a lot more praise because it's the first time really hearing out of it in 2006.
Yep.
So yeah,
get in at 30. Down. What do you say? Or 32, I should say.
32.
All right. Lock her in. 32 it is. Do you have anything specific that you would like to talk about next week, sir?
No. What do we have? What do we have planned next week?
We really didn't have.
Don't.
You know what? I want to put this out right now.
What do you got?
I usually talk about this in private to see if you're up for it, but why not us do a Nick Cage month?
Ooh, Nick Cage in March, huh?
Yeah,
March with Nick.
Just for
I'm down.
Because we've got 2024.
Man is a national treasure.
I see what you did there. We've got 2024's Arcadian. We've got Renfield.
Right?
Renfield. So got a bunch of horror genre movies with Nick Cage in it. We've got Long Legs. you know. So I mean, there's all kinds of a vampire's kiss, another great.
Vampire's Kiss. There's some
Nice.
good ones in there. Yeah,
Nice.
let's we'll talk about that off, and we'll get the month squared away on what we're gonna do with Nick.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm down. I'm down with Cage.
Let's do that. Let's do Cage March, and then we'll go from there. I'm voting that we do Arcadian for next week, and then maybe
Okay, we could do
uh,
that.
and then we'll discuss everything else the following to have it ready.
Yeah.
I have no problem with doing Vampire's Kiss. I think that would be a fun one to do also.
That's a good one.
It is. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Chris, was there anything you'd like to tell everybody before we sign off?
No, head off into the chat. There'll be a link where you can go to bio.link/graverev. That's GRAVEREV. And you can get a link to all of our socials. You'll see us on the gram. You'll see us on the TikTok. You'll see us on Facebook. And we even have an email address and merchandise. Reach out to us on any of those. If you have suggestions, if you'd like to see us do something, join with us on March. We're marching with Nick. You heard it live right here. March is now Nick Cage month, so we're going to be following that. So check our socials. I'm going to be posting a lot more now that I've freed my phone from the storage fairies. I've taken it back. So my editing software was toast. So yeah, other than that, thank you for joining with us. Audio, video, late, on time, with us, without us. Thank you. Stay spooky, friends.
Absolutely. Tina, to answer your question, you could always watch Easter Day, which is BEASTER Day,
Yeah, there's a couple.
or the Beaster Bunny, which I
The
think
Beaster Bunny,
is the same movie. Actually,
Night of the Lepus, old school.
old school, the Night of the Lepus. That's awesome. That's awesome. So yes, there are some out there. Yes. Okay, we're marching with Cage. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming tonight. As we like to say, anytime that we broadcast, we like to say until we meet again. Before I do that, ladies and gentlemen, please take a moment to hit the subscribe button if you haven't. Leave us a like and a comment. It really does help us grow the channel. If there's anyone out there that you know that likes horror movies one way or the other, please let them know that we're here, that we are fun loving, and we're pretty down to earth guys that like movies, right? You can reach out to us, as Chris said, through our bio link, or you can just leave us a comment in this video. And until we meet again, ladies and gentlemen, may all your nightmares be groovy. Have a great night, everybody.